Really sorry for the troubles in connecting, and I thank you so much to be here, all of you. I'm really glad to do this presentation. It's the first time for me, and I try to be as clear as possible. So this has been designed specifically for therapists and prescribers, and I hope everything will be clear for you. So starting with myself, my name is Lancelot, and I'm a part of Eppur. So Eppur is a French small company that we've created a few years ago, 3 years ago actually, with my friends Colin and Matthias. And now we have a beautiful team of 7 people, more or less, sometimes it's moving, but stabilized around 7 people. And we are situated in Lille in the north of France, so really close to Belgium. That is where we manufacture the products, and that is also where we make all the design and the tests. So when we created the company with Colin, the objective of the company was to bring more accessibility and mobility to the people with a handicap, including any people with any handicap, starting, of course, with solving a problem in a wheelchair, which is braking. So the story of our company started in 2015, sorry, when Colin saw at the end, when he came out of the engineering school when we were doing our studies, he saw the road of a wheelchair user. This wheelchair user was in a small slopey road, and so he was moving and going down the slope. But as soon as he wanted to keep the speed and not accelerating, he had to touch the hand rims and get burned. And so sometimes he dropped the hand rims and took more speed. So he tried to catch the hand rim again and get burned again. And so Colin was like, what is he doing? He doesn't have brakes. What's the problem? And he came back in the engineering school where we had a teacher in a wheelchair. And the teacher told us, yes, there is no brakes on a wheelchair. There is parking brakes, but no brakes progressively that you can use when you go down the slope. And so that is how everything started. So a few months later, we were hired in Decathlon, the sports company in France, as an intern. And so we worked together and we tried to solve this problem by adding a new braking system for wheelchairs. And that's how we made our first prototypes. And then we've been working for years, not officially, but beside the company in the weekend and evenings. We were roommates, so we used to work a lot at the evenings. And we built some prototypes. We finally won a few contests of design, such as the Concours Lépine, which is quite famous in France. And we have won several contests like that. We earned a small amount of money, which we invested all the time in the patents on everything. And in 2021, we left the company, Decathlon, to build our own company, Eppur. We had good story then. For example, in 2024, we had the opportunity to participate in the Shark Tank TV show in France. And also, we were present in the Paris 2024 Games, which was absolutely incredible. And now we are selling the products in around 20 countries. And a few months ago, we've just released our new product, which is called Skeed, and which I will present to you, of course, today. So one of the kind of cool stories I can share with you is when we participate in the Shark Tank show.
Je m'appelle Oksana, je suis tétraplégique et j'utilise un fauteuil roulant depuis 10 ans. Et
cette problématique, elle concerne 65 millions de personnes dans le monde, 400 000 rien qu'en France. Et c'est pour cette raison que nous avons créé Dreeft. Dreeft, c'est une paire de roues qui s'installe très facilement sur les fauteuils roulants manuels, comme vous pouvez le voir tout de suite. Allez les gars, c'est vraiment le pit stop là. Ah, pas mal. Ouais. Cette paire de roues dispose d'un système de freinage qu'on appelle le rétropédalage, similaire au vélo.
That's enough. I just wanted you to recognize Tony Parker. So that's one of the cool stories we've had. And there is another one, which is really nice. It was in last year, in the summer, when we met a guy who was named Junior Fernandez, and he was a table tennis player. And he tried the wheels during the games in the Olympic the athlete space of the Olympic Games in Paris, and he tried the wheels, and he said, "I really like it. I want to continue starting with it." And I was like, "Are you sure? You're competing, so it's serious. You don't need to change your material at the end, at the last moment." And he said, yes, I really want to try, and I want to compete with the wheels. And this is the result.
6 gold medal opportunities for Junior Fernandez as he serves. The first one, he takes all the serves on this man, won him this third game 11-4. This is what it means to Cuba.
So basically, we have a good figure to share with you. 100% of the people who used Dreeft when doing sports have won a gold medal at the games, which is quite cool. So that's the first medal of Cuba at this time. Okay, so now I will go more into the subject. The subject we try to solve here is the braking in a wheelchair. So I think all of the people here are occupational therapists or working in this industry, so you already know there is no brake in a wheelchair. The only way you can brake is to take the handbrake with your hands and catch it as much as you can to dissipate the efforts of the deceleration of the wheelchair, which means you have a lot of efforts and friction in your hands. So you can see the problem with the tetraplegic guy. He cannot catch the handbrake, so it is even more difficult to stop. Okay. Of course, it's a problem of safety, because if you catch the handbrake and the handbrake is sliding in your hands, at the moment you get burnt, and when you get burnt, you drop the handbrake, and this can be very dangerous. And there is so much effort that most of the people with the quadriplegia are not able to catch the handbrake and retain the wheelchair. So they need the help of another people to be able to slow down or just keep the same speed in a slope. It's also a problem of overuse of the upper limbs, and we will have a talk about the MSDs, musculoskeletal disease, because of course it's the main problem of the people using a wheelchair, and this is one of the problems we try to solve at least a little bit. And last but not least, it's a problem of accessibility. So we took a map of Paris, and we select all the streets over 5% of slope, and it's already 10% of the surface of Paris, which means it is, of course, a problem of accessibility or autonomy, because for some of the people, you need to have the help of another people to help you going down. So if you make a study of the literature, so all the official articles, scientific articles about wheelchair propulsions, TMS, etc., you find a lot of articles. Most of them are completely out of the subject, and some of them are really useful to speak about studying the efficiency of the propulsion, the disease of the people in the wheelchair, the type of accidents, but actually none of them speaks about braking. We found one article, and this article said, we haven't done the study with the braking, but it should be very interesting to study the pain of the braking when using a wheelchair. So we tried it. At least we made a first study with any wheelchair user. So we made the test a few years ago with the help of the most important association of the people in a wheelchair. The APF is Association of the Paralyses of France. And when we asked, do you have trouble going down the slope? 75% said yes. Sometimes I need to change my way or having help. And when we asked, do you think we can improve or we need to improve the brakings? More than 9% on 10 says yes, which means it is a problem and it has no solution yet. If we go into the detail of the musculoskeletal disease, you mainly know that it is the worst enemy of the wheelchair users, because if we take the figures, 35% of the paraplegic have a problem of musculoskeletal disease in the shoulders after just 6 months of using a wheelchair. And if you take the quadriplegic people, it is 78% of the people, which is enormous. And if it's after 20 years of a wheelchair, it's almost everyone who has problems. It can be in the wrist or in the shoulders, but basically it's a very hard problem, because as soon as you have musculoskeletal disease on your shoulders, you cannot even do transfers, and you lose the most important of your autonomy, which is your upper limbs. So the factors that increase the risk are, of course, the strength you need to, the power of the efforts, and the extreme postures. So the postures means the angles. For example, in my wrist, if I do in the high angles, it is the worst positions to be injured with MSDs. And if you do it all the time, of course, it's a problem of fatigue. So you also increase your risk of having MSDs. If you go even more in the details, you can study what kind of movements are the worst. And basically, you can see if you dissipate energy in a negative way, which means decelerating. So it means eccentric efforts. For example, if you go down a mountain, it would be worse for you than going up the mountain, because your muscles are putting effort to decelerate a movement, but the direction of the movement is in opposition with the direction of the efforts. So this is the case, for example, if you go down somewhere, or if you decelerate a movement, especially if you have some shocks and vibrations. This is the worst. Okay, so now I tried to summarize the propulsion and the brakings in a normal wheelchair. So I made this. Small videos. I made it twice. One with a metallic pusher, which means very slidey one, and I made the test again with a coated push rim with a rubber coating, which means it's grippy, so I don't need to tighten a lot to catch it. So with the metallic push rim, when I propel the wheelchair, my shoulders are working correctly because it's concentric efforts, which means I push and I dissipate the energy in the right way. If you see my wrist, you can see I tied very much the hand rim because it's small and because it's really slidey. So I need to tighten it very hard. And when I push with the movement, my wrist is doing a big angle, and I need to tighten very much and turn a lot as well, which means it is really bad for TMS in the wrist. Okay. And now when you brake with this kind of device, basically you tighten the hand rim and you make it slide in your hands and dissipate the energy with frictions in your hands. Okay. It is absolutely impossible to do for quadriplegic people. So this is why most of the time, only paraplegic people use metallic hand rims. So you tighten, and the more you tighten, the more you get burnt. So it's of course a problem of friction. But if you see the efforts, it's basically isometric because I don't really move my fingers, I don't really move my arms, I just tighten it and it slides into my hand, but I don't really move. Okay? Now we do the same exercise with a coated push rim. It's really easy to push because I don't have to tighten the hand rim because the hand rim is already really grippy. So I just need to push it with the palm of my hands, but I don't need to tighten it very hard with my wrist, which is very good. But in a position, look at the brake. It's impossible to let it slide in my hand because it's burning immediately. So I have some shocks and I need to decelerate progressively the hand rim by moving. So it's the worst efforts you can have. And in addition, you have a lot of shock. So there is a lot of tension in my shoulder and in my wrist. And if you want to make it slide in your hands, it's even more dangerous because you get burnt and so you drop the hand rim. I hope this is clear to you. And the conclusion of this analysis is that basically to propel the wheelchair, you have several solutions, but the first one is very bad for the wrist and the other one is okay. And in braking, you have no solution because in the best case, you get burnt. In the worst case, you use your shoulders in a very bad way. Okay? I hope that's clear for you. And so I will introduce the solutions we've built, starting with Dreeft. So Dreeft is the first product of the range. And a few months ago, we launched also Skeed, which is the new product. Both of them are a pair of wheels that you can fit in a few seconds in any wheelchair, which means you just have to replace the wheels of the wheelchair to have, of course, a pair of wheels, featuring a braking system integrated inside the rear wheels of the wheelchair. So I will show you how it works with Dreeft. Okay, so basically, the revolution that we've designed is just inspired of the braking systems of the bicycles in the Netherlands. I don't know if some of you have tried it, the coaster braking systems, but basically you push with the pedals, but when you go in an opposite direction with the pedals, you activate a braking system, which is directly inside the hub of the wheel, in the middle of the wheel. So I don't explain you exactly how it works, but we've completely changed the design in order to make it available for the wheelchair, starting with the backward direction, which is possible with our wheels, but it is impossible with a bike. We also made sure that it was ready to install in any wheelchair in a few seconds with the quick release axles. We reduced the play of the handrim, etc. So it's a complete different product, but inspired with the coaster brakes. And the main advantage is that this kind of braking is really resistant, and basically you have only metal devices in the grease, and you don't need to change any material. So it's super durable. So the pair of wheels, you saw a small kind of aluminum part between the handrim and the wheel. So this is how you push the handrim and you go front. You can go forward when you push the handrim, just like a normal wheel. You also have a free wheel, which means if you go down the slope and you catch the handrim in your hands, you don't really need to tighten it very hard because it's not moving. So you just have the handrim, like in a bike. The handrim is not moving all the time with the wheel. As soon as you pull backward, you can see you have a blocking point, and the more you pull, the more you brake, just like a pedal of a car, just like the brake of a bike. And when you finish the braking, if you continue pulling backward, you can still go backward. So you can go frontward. You have a free wheel. When you go front, but you pull back, you activate the brake. And when you're in the speed 0, if you continue pulling, you go back. So you can do everything you do with a wheelchair, but you have a brake in addition, which is completely integrated in the normal use of the wheelchair. So we have several hundreds of people using the product. And we had the feedback of a few English-speaking people. So I shared.
You've just changed my life. Wow. They are amazing. They are completely life-changing. I have issues with my hands, so when the muscles lock up, they get stuck. So having something that is it's completely life-changing. And I was not going to burn my hands. Wow. I don't know how. That is seriously impressive.
So that's a girl we met last year in the NAIDEX show. And there's the several other ones I can share. Another
So hi
video.
Molly, thank you so much for the test of the Dreeft Wheels.
Yeah.
How was it?
Absolutely incredible. They're really responsive. The turning is super easy to get to one hand. The braking ability is absolutely incredible. I've never felt anything quite like that with how responsive and easy to do it is. It's definitely, you can see how much shoulder pain that I save. I dislocate my shoulders a lot. So that ability to stop without getting burns on my hands, like I get a lot, is absolutely incredible. They're a really great product.
Okay, I hope everything is clear for you. So if you go more into the details of the technique of Dreeft, basically you have a braking system integrated, super responsive. You dissipate the efforts really easily with no tension and no friction. And the force you need to stop the wheelchair or slow down is divided by 5. But this product has, of course, some limitations. And the first one is that the wheel is more heavy than a normal wheel, of course, because there is some mechanism inside. So basically, Dreeft wheels are each wheels are 3.2 kilograms heavy. And the other thing is, because of in the mechanism of the hand rim, you have a small play between the frontward and backward rotation, which means it's quite hard to master the wheeling. You can completely use the wheels for crossing a small obstacle in your, like to just put up a little bit the front wheels, but it's quite hard to masterize perfectly the wheelings. Like, for example, going downstairs, it's not doable with Dreeft. This is why this product is mainly adapted for people with more disability in the upper limbs. So in the first way, the quadriplegic people, but not all. It can be also, for example, multiple sclerosis, IMC people, people with no ability with the fingers, people with no force in the shoulders, but basically all the people who have a lot of pain to break the wheelchair and don't do wheelings and don't do transfers all the time. So the weight is not so a problem, and the wheeling is not a problem neither. Okay? And so I will introduce to you our new product, which is called Skeed, and which is also a great product for a different type of users. And so without waiting, I show you the product video. Okay, so I think this product is more easy to understand because the mechanism is more simple. Basically, you have a lever, and when you catch the lever backward, you activate a brake, just like a bike, just like a car, just like any brake. If you pull if you push the lever in the bottom side, you block the brake, and you have a parking brake integrated as well. So basically, it replaces also the parking brakes. It works approximately the same way as the previous product because it is metallic parts with grease, and so it is the same mechanism that you don't need to change anything inside. You don't have any ease, and so it's super, super durable. So we don't have that much testimony of people, so I will show you the one of Emily, one of the users we had for the development and also for the product videos of the product.
Là où je vis en région parisienne, si je me déplace sur Paris, il y a beaucoup de descentes très raides. Mais le fait d'utiliser les roues skid, c'est absolument pas douloureux et c'est beaucoup moins énergivore.
I'm
Et tout ça
sorry, I don't know why you don't have the subs, so I think it's not going to be so useful for you. So I continue. This product, as you saw in the video, is perfectly adapted for the most active users because the skid wheels are 1 kilogram lighter than the previous ones, and more importantly, you have a completely free hand rim. The hand rim is fixed to the wheel, so you don't have a play, and so you can use the wheel exactly like a normal wheel to master the wheelings, and so to cross the obstacles. So you don't anymore have a problem of transfer, and you don't anymore have a problem to do the wheelies, and so that's why Skeed is a product more adapted for active people. But it is not that adapted for the quadruped people because it's not so easy to catch the lever with the bottom of your fingers. So that's why we have two products, all adapted to a different kind of people. Both products completely cancel the friction in the hand. So you'd never have a problem of friction, and you'd never need to use gloves when you brake. You divide 80% of the efforts when braking the wheelchair, which means if you pull 1 kilogram, you brake 5 kilograms. This is true for Skeed and Dreeft, the two products. And of course, it's really useful when you use it under the rain, because when the hand rim is slippery, it is super dangerous. But this is one of the reasons why it's really mandatory to use a braking system in a wheelchair. And last but not least, it's really important to understand that the propelling systems, electrical ones, are absolutely really nice to have in combination with our wheels. So you probably know there is several ways to equip a manual wheelchair to have an electrified engine to push you or pull you to go in bigger distances. First of all, you can have the front power wheels, such as the Batek or Infinity. Like, there's a lot of brands doing this. You have a scooter at the front of the wheelchair, which is absolutely great to go out like in the rough terrain. But it's almost impossible for a user to put it out of the car alone. So it is really interesting, but more for outside use with a family. But it's not designed to go inside and to help you in all the conditions. Then you have the back powered wheels, or any kind of system that turns a manual wheelchair into an electric wheelchair. For example, the e-Toyance or e-Drive. There is many references, Benoit System as well in France. And basically, it's really interesting, but you can't switch the wheels so easily. So basically, when you use this, you just have an electrified wheelchair, but you can't go down a sidewalk, you can't go in a car easily, etc. And the last category is the really small engines that you put at the back of the wheelchair. So we call it fifth back wheel. And so you can have the Jumper, this one, but the Smart Drive, you can have the Smooth, the Klaxon Click, Klaxon Twist, sorry. So you have several brands that makes rear propulsion system, which is really interesting. And as soon as you use this kind of engines with our wheels, it's absolutely revolutionary, because the wheels can steer the wheelchair when the small electrical device push the wheelchair. So it's just like an electrical wheelchair with no problem, and it's a pure happiness, basically. So the more those companies sell the engine, the more we sell wheels, and it's a very good combination. So in terms of clinical study, we have just finished our first clinical study on Dreeft. Dreeft is the first product. And so the measurement has been done with several factors of measurement of the quality of life. And basically, it's hard to go completely into the details, but you measure the difference of the quality of life of the people. So there was 21 patients with two categories, randomized. So some of them started with the wheels, some started with the normal wheels. And when we check the satisfaction score of the COPM, we have 6 for the Dreeft and 4 with the normal wheels. And basically, we have a better results with Dreeft all the time, except for the wheelchair skill test. Because, of course, I don't know if all of you know the wheelchair skill program, but it is only questions about moving with the wheelings, opening a door, going down a sidewalk, going up a sidewalk. So, of course, all the questions are completely focused into doing wheelies. This is why we have bad results with Dreeft. But at the end, even the people who answered like not so good results finally had a good satisfaction of the product and said, anyway, I still want to use Dreeft and I would buy it. So 75% of the people would buy the Dreeft wheels. And last but not least, you know that the only limitations of Dreeft is the way of doing wheelies, and it is solved with our new product. So basically, it is normal that not anyone love the first product because it's not adapted to anyone. For the wheeling function, we have the new product which is answering the problem. A few weeks ago, sorry, I had to bring testimonies because we are asking in France to have a reimbursement of the system in France, and for this reason, I had to ask several customers the feedback of the product, and so it is. I think it's more easy to know what is the advantage of the product when you ask someone rather than doing percentages of a clinical study. And so, for example, Gwenaël said, I put much less strain on my shoulders, and I had a disease on my shoulders during years, and it was impossible to solve it. And this tension completely disappeared as soon as I started using Dreeft. So this is really, really interesting. He definitely says it has an evolution on the shoulders. Concerning Elsa, she had almost the same feedbacks, but I just put a different example. She speaks about the style of the wheels, which she thinks is really important. Especially, it is quite classy and doesn't look like a handicap wheels, like a normal wheelchair. And Quentin said, with the Dreeft wheels, I could completely drop my electric wheelchair. So he replaced it because he also has a problem system. All of these products are designed and manufactured in France. So this is done in Lille, in the north of France. We did do it actually with a collaboration with Decathlon's factory, which is just a few hundred meters behind me. And so that is where we assemble the wheels. And concerning the machining of the metal parts, it's also machined in France, in the mountainside of France. So I've done it in 40 minutes instead of 1 hour. I think it's good for you if you're hungry. To conclude, Dreeft is the best product for the people with disabilities in the upper limbs because it's more easy to break, but it's more heavy and it's more hard to do wheeling. So at the end, it's adapted for quadriplegic people or people with problem in the fingers or in the shoulders. Skeed is the best product for active users who uses the wheel all the time, especially to go down obstacles, who are always in a balance on the rear wheels, and that don't have so much problem on the fingers, and so they can catch the lever without a problem. In my suggestion, I would say it's around 4 people on 5 would more like Skeed, and 1 people of 5 would be more interested in Dreeft. But basically, the products are not an evolution, or it's not a version 2. It's a completely sorry. The products are answering the need of different people without competing each other. So I hope this presentation was clear to you and nice. I think the most important thing to retain is basically having a brake in a wheelchair should be mandatory. And it's the basic security that everyone should have. This is what I think. This is what our customers think. And now I think I would be glad to explain more in the detail if you have any questions. And if you want to try the wheels, you're more than welcome to try it with our partner in Ireland, MMS Medical, which I thank you for this presentation, which I thank. I invite you to turn on your camera and I will stop recording. Thank you so much.